Breaking news! Breaking news about ownership of the Jets. Woody Johnson is selling the team. Wrong. That's not happening. But something else is happening. Something could be happening. Something may happen. There could be good news. It might be perhaps the beginning. And Frankie from Flatbush, is the first one to tell you about it. So let's talk about it next.
Hey there, ever dreamt of coaching in the big leagues? Well, hold on to your playbooks because this might just be your chance. Are you a football coach looking for work? The New York Jets, headquartered in beautiful Florham Park, New Jersey, could be looking for you. Do you enjoy answering to a boss who answers to the bean counters in an organization? Do you enjoy being told, "We can't afford him," when you make personnel suggestions for the roster? Are you someone who can only win with elite talent at every position on the football field? Can you thrive in a high-pressure, high-stress environment where the owner of the team may decide to fire you 5 games into the season without consulting his general manager or anyone else about the decision? Do you enjoy interacting with dirty journalists out to write clickbait, nasty articles about you to further their own careers? Would you enjoy living in a high-tax, terrible weather, women with mononucleosis state where every radio station plays Bruce Springsteen songs 24 hours a day? Well, then this could be an employment opportunity of a lifetime. Apply today at New York, but really NewJerseyJets.com.
Okay, so let's go to the Twitter machine, otherwise known as X.com. So Gary Myers of the New York Daily Snooze, I think it is. He's a football writer, and he put out a tweet today. He said, "My plan to fix the Jets: hire Curtis, my favorite Martin, as president of football operations. He's been preparing to get into NFL ownership for years, and he loves the Jets. So the Johnsons should sell him a small piece of the team, if that would get the deal done. Martin is very well respected in NFL circles, whatever that means. I guess there's a bunch of circles, and within them, they love Curtis Martin, and would be the perfect face of the franchise. I couldn't agree more. He is best friends with Bill Parcells, and he could use him as a sounding board," he says. He says, "Martin would be in charge of hiring the new GM. Joe Douglas has had 6-year, we know that. Martin has a million NFL contracts, part of Roger Goodell's inner circle. Contacts. Martin has a million NFL contacts. This is something I didn't know. Now, this would be useful to Woody Johnson. So I am loving this idea so far. There's a lot of great angles to it, and I'm going to show you another one that Myers didn't even bring to the table. Part of Goodell's inner circle. There's a lot of circles going around in this tweet, but nonetheless, then the new GM, in consultation with Martin, would hire the coach. So he's saying, look, Martin has a million NFL contacts. He'll know who to hire as the GM. Of course, you start with all the AGMs in here. I found it, by the way. I found my green book. Oops. It's hard to see here, but found my green book. So I thought I lost it in the move, but I actually have it. But all the names of the people you want to hire, the AGM, they're all in the green book. So how hard is it? I'm sure Martin has something like that. Is probably not called the green book, but the GM and coach would figure out which quarterback to draft and whatever. We do the quarterback strategy, and then Woody heads to the UK, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is similar to an idea that I had before. If you heard one of the previous videos, I said Woody needs a consigliere. And maybe Curtis, my favorite Martin, is that consigliere. Makes perfect sense to me. To bridge the gap between football operations and the money men. Because the reports have come out that Woody listens too much to the money men. The money men being the business side of the team. Now, the additional angle, Frankie from Flatbush exclusive. You get this nowhere else on Jets YouTube, only here. There's also this report from Front Office Sports. Dun, 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 dun. Private equity enters NFL ownership. Oh, no, private equity. We don't like it. Well, guess what? It's been approved. Private equity firms can purchase 10%, as we've discussed previously, of any franchise that wants to do this. It's voluntary, of course. Now, these are the only firms that can buy in. Arctos Partners, Ares Management, Sixth Street Partners, and a consortium, Blackstone Partners, CVC Capital, Carlyle Group, Dynasty Equity, and Ludus. The latter firm, Ludus, was founded and is led by guess who? Curtis, my favorite Martin. So here you have Curtis Martin involved in private equity. He's needed to be part of our front office structure for sure. I love this idea. You could give him, let his group in this consortium own, up to 10%. Maybe it's 5%, 3%, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be 10. 10 is the max. And so he has some equity stake in the team. And then on top of that, you hire him, like Gary Myers is saying. So let's take a look at our organizational structure. At the top, you got this guy, Woody Johnson. Now, for all those people, why is this happening? I can't do what I want to do, for God's sakes. All those people who want Johnson to sell the team, I'm going to have to make this super big so you can see it. It must be because it's a PDF or something. Maybe I could use one of these things. He also, under his leadership, the Jets' home field MetLife Stadium. Oops, we don't want to do that. MetLife Stadium is an award-winning venue, has been ranked as the number one highest grossing venue in the world. Numero uno in the world. One. Boy, this thing really does not want me to use it. Number one. You get the idea. Number one highest grossing venue in the world and recognized by Billboard as Stadium of the Decade. So you think he's going to sell the team? The Jets itself is a cash cow. Then he has, on top of that, the stadium that he shares with the Giants, probably a 50-50 split. It's the number one highest grossing venue in the world. That means it makes the most money of any venue in the frickin' world, man. Like, this guy is not selling the team. Now, he could move out of that stadium and build another stadium if he wanted to and keep that venue there and then move the Jets somewhere else. He could do that. But he's not selling the team. It's far too lucrative to do so. So we're not doing that. So Woody's there. Then you got Christopher, number two. Now, in this media guide, number three is this man that nobody ever talks about, Jaime El High, except for our friend Eddie McGuire. Eddie McGuire. That's the man you can trust. And he says, hey, take a look at Jaime El High. Here he is, this man. No one ever talks about the president of the friggin' team. And when the reporting comes out that says, well, Woody's listening too much to the non-football people, this is who he's talking about. This is who they're talking about. That is in Woody's ear. He's the president, and you notice he gets his third at billing on the chart here in the book. Now, I don't know. Here's something. I don't know if this is right or not, but you notice on this is called the official board. New York Jets has 20 executives. This is supposed to be some sort of executive listing, and it's Christopher and Woody and Jaime, and Joe Douglas is over here in the second tier. Even behind Brian Feldman and the chief of staff. This is general manager Joe Douglas. They're hiding it from you. But we all know this is Joe Douglas. And so I don't know if this is right, but then you go to the media guide and Jaime is before everybody else. So it may be, and we don't know this for 100% for sure, but Eddie McGuire thinks so and seems to make sense to me, that Douglas is reporting to Jaime and that Jaime, in addition to that, also listens to him more than Joe Douglas, even on football matters. And it's only his sixth year, it says. And this is a guy who is a lawyer, okay, Rutgers Law School. Went to Johns Hopkins, smart guy. And then you have here's Brian Feldman. This is also one of the non-football people. He's the EVP and COO. He's the chief operating officer. Maybe he's even above Joe Douglas. And Friedman is responsible for implementation of business operations aligned with our short and long-term business goals, revenue generation. So this is a person, for example, who probably was advocating to get Rodgers over Derek Carr, for example, Aaron Rodgers over Derek Carr, because he's like, look, Rodgers will be better for business and he's good at football. So what's the problem? Well, there's a lot of problems, Brian and Jaime. The risks involved of getting an Aaron Rodgers, and nobody seemed to take care of that. And he's responsible for all financial aspects of the organization. Okay. It's basically an accountant. And you got Eric Gelfand over here. It has to do with the media. Ian Lasher, all these people. Then we get to the personnel staff, and finally, here's Joe Douglas. So what I think is, if you look at it this way, you would also have a fourth person here called Curtis Martin, and I would think he'd be above Jaime. You call him I don't know, you give him some title and you make him above Jaime, and you make Jaime and the new general manager report to him. And then you, Curtis Martin, report to Woody. Something like that. I think it makes a lot of sense. And you get a smart football mind. Here's Phil Savage. See, he's probably going to get fired. David Sosi is probably getting fired. Nick Sabella, probably fired. Christina Wedding, she'll stick around. But you go through all this. Here's Greg Namej. This guy should be fucking fired. Sorry, Greg. You're the director of pro personnel. You should have been. We made too many mistakes, Greg, in that area. Fired. Ray Agnew. Well, we'll get back to Mr. Agnew. He's an interesting guy for a couple of reasons. He shouldn't be fired. But there's something else down here if you keep scrolling that becomes very interesting when you get down to I'm going to have to go way down. I don't want to look at these people. We'll have to do another video on that. I thought it was going to be right here. But anyway, and see, wrestle, all these things get are for the stadium and all that, executive staff. But anyway, there you go. That could be the solution to our problem. Woody doesn't know what he's doing. Christopher doesn't know what he's doing, but Curtis Martin does. I think Curtis Martin does. Gary Myers is telling us Martin has 1 million NFL contacts and is part of Roger Goodell's inner circle. He knows all the people. It seems to me that Curtis Martin's doing all the politicking that Woody should do in the first place. You got to get to know people. You have to have a contact list a gazillion long. That's how you get ahead in life. It's not your net worth, it's your network, they say. And I believe it. And so this is a perfect win-win situation. He likes our organization. We can get him. He's known as a Jet. He's a Hall of Fame, player, of course. He has a great reputation. He's a perfect face of the franchise. He's a handsome fella, as an added bonus. And everybody seems to love him. And he has 1 million contacts. I mean, this is perfect. You get a sharp football mind in there. And you have the consigliere idea. He's the consigliere between the general manager and the business people. You need somebody to intermediate between those two, because those two are often going to be in conflict. And that's what we have with the Jets, and that's the problem. So I think this is really interesting. We don't know what's going to happen. It's just an idea from Gary Myers, but he's putting it out there, and he's an influential guy. People listen to what he said. Nobody listened to old Frankie, but maybe you listen to Gary, Gary Myers. We need the consigliere, and the consigliere should be Curtis frickin' Martin. That's the breaking news. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. Like this video with the thumbs up. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get up to 500 subscribers, and we would really appreciate your help with that. So subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. As always, stay frosty.
Did you know that if you subscribe to this YouTube channel right now, you will get exclusive access to a drinking game called Hard Looks, where you can drink with fellow Jets fans every time head coach Jeff Ulbrich says hard look in a press conference? It's true. Click the subscribe button right now. Oh, please, baby, please.